Good morning,
Good
ma'am.
morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning once again, everyone. So is there any question from the yesterday's class?
No, ma'am.
So as we were discussing yesterday, the demographic transition theory is related to the various stages of population growth for a country. And generally, most of the countries follow these stages. They experience these stages. Now, one thing which you must be wondering and thinking, we are talking about demography, demographic transition. So that means there is something which is related to demographic structure of the country. So when we say demographic, it is related to the characteristics of population. And when you say characteristics of population, what it means, it will be about total size of population, then birth rate, death rate, life expectancy, fertility rate, fertility rate means the number of children which a woman can give birth to, right? And this is very important for the process of development and growth, because rate of fertility decides the probability of population growth in every economy. Generally, in underdeveloped economies, in backward economies, the fertility rate is very high, and therefore the population growth rate is quite high. And therefore the level of underdevelopment continues. So as you must have studied about the circular causation of underdevelopment, that is the Knox model of underdevelopment, the vicious circle of poverty. So similarly, related to that vicious cycle, we can also talk about the vicious cycle of population. So if population size is high, how it leads to low income, low productivity, and it continues to further increase the population growth rate. Okay, so in that sense, the demographic structure of every economy is very important. So then age-wise distribution, or gender-wise distribution of the population, how many boys, how many girls, how many male population, female population. So these are the characteristics which are very important when we talk about population, because there are different economists who are talking about role of population in development. Role of population in development. So what are the advantages? What are the disadvantages of population for the growth or for the development? So you can try to identify according to your own understanding also what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages. One advantage which is very clear is related to source of labor supply, because until and unless the population is growing, the labor supply is not going to increase. And also remember that when we talk about labor supply, or when we talk about that through population growth or with the population growth, the supply of labor goes up. So we are talking about age group of 15 to 64, okay, or 14 to 65, like that also we can talk about. So this is the working age population, 15 to 64 years, 15 years to 64 years, that is the working age population. And this population is labor force, right? That labor force. So if the population is high, the supply of labor will be more. Similarly, there can be other disadvantages. There can be other advantages. So this is labor, but cheap labor.
Ma'am, voice is breaking.
Ma'am, voice problem.
Is there any?
Ma'am, voice.
So I'm disconnecting and we'll connect again. Okay. Okay, let us see if it works properly now.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we can always think of, or you can always talk about the advantages and disadvantages of population. Is it okay now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So with population, you have labor supply, you have cheap labor, but the disadvantages is shortage of output. Okay, so the first disadvantage with population is that high population leads to more demand for goods and services, and therefore generally there will be shortage of output. aggregate demand will always be greater than aggregate supply. And this is not a positive situation. Generally, like when in the Keynesian theory, you say that if aggregate demand is more, then the income level will continuously rise in the economy. But you are talking about an economy where population is very high. And the population is high means that if suppose the dependent population, the dependent age group is more. Dependent age group is below 15 and above 64. So if the population is more, proportionally more in the age group of 0 to 15 and 65 and above, then there will be shortage of workforce. And this will lead to less output levels, and therefore there will always be shortage of output. If the economy has a larger proportion of 15 to 64, then there will be more production, more savings, more investment. And then population will become a positive factor for development. One important disadvantage with huge population or large size of population is less capital formation. Or low level of capital formation. Is there a problem again?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
What happened, Suraj? Are you asking something?
मैम इनके बाद क्या लिखा हुआ है? रोल ऑफ पॉपुलेशन इन
डेवलपमेंट. Okay, role of population in development.
Okay, ma'am.
So the population can act as, if the advantages are more, then population becomes an inducing factor. If the population is creating more disadvantages for the economy, then it will act as retarding force, right? So traditionally, population theory is related to Malthus. And in this theory, you understand that according to Malthus, population grows with a geometric progression. Whereas food production grows with arithmetic progression. So therefore, Malthus finds that population always grows faster than the food production, and population accumulates very faster or at a very fast rate. So therefore, there will always be a problem. Population will always be a problem. Malthus theory, although it is considered as a pessimistic theory, but still Malthus is saying that if the population is growing without enough or adequate savings and investment or capital formation, then there will always be shortage of output. There will be more unemployment problem because of high population growth rate. There will be pressure on resources because more and more resources will be utilized. But there are economists who also says that if population is more, there will be more innovation, more demand, and therefore more output, high level of output, high level of economic activities. So there is always a continuous debate going on. And when Malthus was talking about the population theory, he says that it is only the natural forces which can control the population. So whenever the population is reaching a very high level, nature automatically takes care of the population growth rate. So there will be epidemics, there will be natural calamities, or there will be earthquake, or there will be drought for the agricultural crop, and that's how the population growth rate will be controlled. So Malthus believed that planning is an
Hello, ma'am.
unnecessary. Yes.
Ma'am, please explain geometric progression and the arithmetic progression.
Which is very simple. I thought you might have read it before only. When you say geometric progression, it means 2, 4, 16, 32, 64, likewise. And when you say arithmetic progression, it means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, likewise. So the food production is always in arithmetic progression because it goes very gradually. But the population grows at an accumulating rate. Okay, it rises very faster.
Okay.
So
ma'am, thank
this
you.
was Malthus' views, right? Malthus was saying that because
Ma'am, your voice
of
is again
the
breaking.
natural. No,
Ma'am, again the same problem.
I guess the problem is because of the screen sharing.
Yes, ma'am.
So let me see if I can continue, if you are able to see the screen.
Yes, ma'am.
So therefore, when we talk about demographic transition theory, so I was telling you that according to Malthus, there was no need of family planning, or there is no need of intervention to control the population because it will not work. It's not effective. It is only under forces.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking.
Ma'am, voice is breaking.
Okay. So let us leave it here. I don't think that I will be able to have a better connection because I tried with 2 courses. It's not working. So let us finish the class now. We'll meet in the next class.
मैम शाम को
Most probably, yes.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am,
शाम को
Yes, yes. I
Ma'am,
am
is this
here,
theory-
right? Yes, Nivedita.
ma'am, is this theory of Malthus is known as the theory of glut?
No, theory of glut is related to overproduction, where there is shortage of demand. So glut is always related to overproduction, not related to population.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yes.
can we say COVID-19 is a natural calamity for control population growth?
No, not like that. You cannot say like that. See, in economics, there is a theory related to rational expectation. And you start from this assumption every time. Right? When you about consumer behavior, you say that consumer is a rational human being. User is a rational human being. Every decision maker is a rational human being. So we always have to think rationally. So natural calamity means anything which is created by the natural forces. So climate change or environmental pollution is not a factor, right? It is man created by humans. So similarly, we need to understand the difference between the factors. Anything else? Any other clarification required?
Ma'am, what are the
So,
names of
remember one
transition?
thing. What, Akash?
Ma'am, I have written the 2 transition, pre and early. Ma'am, what are the next 2?
Early. Are you talking about the basis of demographic transition?
Ma'am, I am talking about what are the 4 transitions. Ma'am, I have wrote only pre and early. What are the next 2 to write?
See, when you will talk about the transition, so, okay, you are talking about this. So it will be, yes, as someone is writing, pre-transition, early transition, transition, post-transition. So there will be 4 types of transition, or there can be 4 stages. See, here is the economic explained 4 stages of demographic transition, and notice time first named this theory as demographic transition theory. So we will talk about these things in the next class when we are having it. So you will find that the industrial society, the society where industrial revolution was not
Ma'am, voice is breaking.
not there.
Yes, ma'am.
Just disconnect the class. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a nice day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.